Happy birthday, nephew.
That's simple. A lot of like to spend their money. We love to spend our money. We can't take none of this. None. Ain't no armored trucks pulling up at no funerals. Simple. So you better enjoy this. A fool and his money will part. We do this. So we
Bad guy out of all of this.
Who's the bad guy? I don't think there's a bad guy.
No, yes it is. Yeah, Vlad, let's talk about it.
I think Meech is the one that made a mistake.
No.
No? You think 50?
No.
Lil Meech.
No.
Who am I forgetting now?
Rick Ross knew perfectly damn well what he was doing and what that would lead to.
February 13th, the Big Meech home benefit concert. It's gonna be iconic. Too many names to list, but let me salute some of the legends. Lil Baby, Boss Man D-Lo, 21 Savage, Sexy Red, Ricky Rose. Now, this the first time it's ever been done. Me performing BMF with the icon himself. This gonna be special.
Epic.
Get your tickets right now.
I'm back.
A quick Google search for you says that your net worth is $20 million. I know I got more money than that. I might go 70 days without looking at my exact total amount of my money because it gives me anxiety, keep looking at numbers all day. It's like when you put money in stocks, the stock trader told me, say, put a lot of money in stock, don't keep looking at that. It'll drive you crazy.
Lil Meech isn't holding back anymore. He's calling out Rick Ross for allegedly scamming Big Meech out of a massive $120 million. And now, things are heating up fast. This isn't just another rap beef. It's turning into a full-blown war between BMF and Rick Ross, with both sides refusing to back down.
Yeah. So look, I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small-budget series. Now it's time to do a big-budget film.
The world of hip-hop is in chaos. Social media is split in half. Fans are taking sides, and every new post adds fuel to the fire. This could be one of the biggest showdowns we've seen in years. In this video, we're diving deep into Lil Meech's explosive claims, the truth behind the alleged $120 million hustle, and how it could change everything for the BMF legacy.
I'm doing right now, my shoulder broke, but we still getting to the money. We still count paper. This
Think about it. It was all part of the plan. 50 Cent and Rick Ross, they set up Big Meech. Freeway Ricky, Rick Ross, and now you got 50 Cent, he owning the rights to BM.
Take a picture with Rick Ross. Put your back against the wall and just slide down.
Word on the street is Rick Ross just played Big Meech like a pawn in a $120 million hustle. And once again, 50 Cent jumped in, clowning the whole situation. But here's the thing. People say they saw this coming long before it went down. Everyone except Big Meech himself. Ross came in smooth, flashing Hollywood dreams and big business talk, movie deals, massive projects, luxury partnerships. It sounded like a new era for Meech and his son. But once the camera stopped flashing, reality hit. Ross walked away, living large, while Big Meech and Lil Meech were left hanging. No deals, no money, no movement. The whole thing started to look less like a partnership and more like a setup. One street insider even said people felt bad for Lil Meech, but not for the grown men who should have seen it coming. This was business, not sympathy. When Big Meech got out of prison last October, fans thought they were about to witness a real comeback story, the king reclaiming his throne. Everyone believed this was a moment to turn his legacy into something legitimate. But then, Ross showed up, talking about $120 million in film deals and a so-called empire in the making. On paper, it looked like Meech was finally about to cash in on his own name. Except that empire, it never existed. No film projects, no payout. The dream Ross sold turned out to be all smoke and mirrors. Behind the scenes, it looked like he was using the Meech name as a prop, another tool in his long-running rivalry with 50 Cent.
Ross take a you a couple weeks ago about a girl that you're not even with no more.
We wearing Travis Scotts all week.
What is it with you and Ross that's just been going on for so long?
Nothing else works for him outside of mentioning me. When things get bad, you mention me. It gets covered further. I get covered across the board. They get covered on the hip hop blogs. It is what it is. And you watch because I have nothing else to say. You just see it happen periodically as it goes. You know, you see that big white elephant, that property he lives at? It costs more than the nightclubs. He's in the nightclubs. What kind of rich cut his own grass? Why you out there cutting your own grass? You trying to save money, nigga? You don't want to pay for the lawn to get cut, huh?
Ain't nothing wrong with cutting your grass.
Here's where it gets cold. Ross knew exactly what he was doing. If he was really loyal to Big Meech, none of this would have gone down like that. The streets caught on quick, calling him out for what it was, pure clout chasing. Everyone knew who was really putting in the work behind BMF's name, 50 Cent. The one financing the show, pushing Lil Meech's acting career, and keeping the legacy alive. 50 Cent was the one holding the BMF legacy together from the very beginning. He funded the BMF series, paid for Lil Meech's acting lessons, and opened the doors that turned him into a legitimate star. Meanwhile, Rick Ross was out here doing what he does best, bringing hype, headlines, self-promotion, but nothing real. Still, for reasons no one could quite understand, Lil Meech chose to side with Ross instead of the man who had been building his career from the ground up. And that move, it didn't just raise eyebrows. It started a quiet war behind the scenes.
Biggest boss Ricky Rose just got word. Meech concert not happening tonight, but 3:05 is going down at the office. Meet us there. Bam!
Even Tony Yayo spoke up about it, saying 50 had been in Lil Meech's corner since day one. No gimmicks, no fake loyalty, just solid support. But word on the block says the pressure is finally catching up to Meech. The money's slowing down, the fame's starting to fade, and frustration is settling in. Because at the end of the day, Ross wasn't there out of brotherhood or loyalty. He was there to poke at 50 Cent and stir the pot. And now, Lil Meech doesn't look like the boss of a legacy. He looks like a pawn caught in the middle of someone else's feud. That's when 50 decided he'd had enough. He came swinging, pulling one of his classic trolling moves that had everyone talking. He joked that Rick Ross told Lil Meech to give up his father's address so he could send some Wingstop wings. The internet went wild, but the joke carried a deeper message. 50 was basically saying Ross wasn't giving the Meech legacy anything of real value, just dressing scraps up as loyalty. Then 50 got personal. He started airing out Lil Meech's behind-the-scenes drama, claiming that he had to step in after Meech showed up to the set intoxicated, threw up during training, and lost focus on production. Then came that infamous story about the whippets, nitrous oxide canisters found in Meech's truck, the kind tied to reckless partying. 50 even joked that he had to Google what whippets were, laughing at how ridiculous it all was while reminding everyone he was the only one acting like an adult keeping the show running.
When that song came out, that's probably like the hottest I ever seen a rapper. People was confronting Ross everywhere, 100 deep, with Larry Hoover Jr. 100 deep to confront Ross about saying the old man name in the song. Even some of the BMF guys for saying he think he Big Meech. When it come to Meech, Meech had guys getting BMF tats on their face in the pen.
Through it all, 50 positioned himself as the protector, the one holding Lil Meech's career together, while Ross and Big Meech, in his eyes, were playing too fast and loose with their own legacy. But despite everything, Lil Meech stuck with Ross. They were seen clubbing, smiling for cameras, acting like everything was fine. And that's when the streets turned. People started roasting what was left of the BMF image, saying that the partnership with Ross was built on ego and empty talk, and it collapsed faster than anyone expected.
I'm Big Meech, entrepreneur here at 5 Star Smiles to make sure that my smile is right forever. First off, image is everything to me, you know, so the first thing people notice is the smile. So knowing that I was going to be doing probably interviews and stuff like that and be in the limelight, wanted to make sure that was the first thing I had did. And that's the thing, like a lot of people in the prison, they neglect our teeth.
Then came Michael Rainey Jr., Power's very own Tariq, who jumped into the mix and added more fuel to the fire. He didn't sugarcoat a thing, saying he didn't feel bad for either Lil Meech or Big Meech, because in his words, grown men should have seen this coming. That viral clip had the internet on fire. Ricky Rose, the time has come. February 13th, get your tickets right now. Florida, Miami, Detroit, California, ATL. We're making history. It spread like wildfire, hyping up Ross's name everywhere. 50 Cent saw it. He didn't waste time. He doubled down, backing Michael Rainey Jr. and making it clear the Meech camp looked weak, lost, and completely played. 50 wasn't backtracking or staying quiet anymore. He stamped his point loud and clear, saying that this was another case of bad loyalty and worse judgment. And honestly, Rick Ross leaving people hanging isn't breaking news. That's just classic Ross behavior. People close to him says he's done it before, even left his own crew behind in Canada during a fight, letting them get jumped while he slipped away. Later, he allegedly called it a test of strength, cold, calculated, and totally in line with how Ross operates. Then Ross tried to flip the script again, talking big about making a BMF movie. He said fans had already seen the small-budget TV version, so now it was time for a big-budget film. He dropped names like F. Gary Gray, Antoine Fuqua, and Tarantino, acting like Hollywood was already lined up for him. Well, let's be real, it sounded more like Ross doing what he does best, talking.
Yeah. So look, I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small-budget series. Now it's time to do a big-budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie F. Gary Gray, Antoine Fuqua, what's up? Tarantino. It's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big. I can feel it. I'm just talking.
Even Whack 100 had to jump in, calling Ross the real villain in this story. He said Ross was never a true ally to Big Meech, just a manipulator using his name to take indirect shots at 50 Cent.
Take a picture with Rick Ross. You like a hoe, nigga. Put your back against the wall and just slide down.
Whack didn't mince words either. He said if Ross genuinely wanted to build something meaningful, he'd have done it quietly. No cameras, no flexing, no headlines. But instead, Ross turned it into a one-man show. The deals, the interviews, the spotlight, all centered on him.
February 13th, the Big Meech benefit concert. It's going to be iconic. Too many names to list, but let me salute some of the legends. Lil Baby, Boss Man D-Lo, 21 Savage, Sexy Red, Ricky Rose. Now, this the first time it's ever been done. Me performing BMF with the icon himself. It's gonna be special.
Epic.
Get your tickets right now.
I'm back.
He paraded Big Meech's name around for clout, using the connection to boost his own image. And honestly, that said it all. Ross wasn't moving for Big Meech, he was moving for himself. He'd been playing the game from day one, hyping Meech up with a talk of million-dollar projects, empires, while the only empire that actually grew was his own fame. Behind the scenes, Ross had even started driving a wedge between Big Meech and 50 Cent, the very man who helped build Lil Meech's career and kept that legacy alive through BMF. And when the dust settled, all that was left were broken promises and empty headlines.
You took a picture with Rick Ross. Put your back against the wall and just slide down.
Ross took even more shots, bragging about buying people's masters and calling 50 out by name. He mocked, saying he could buy 50's masters anytime. Then, in another clip, he threw shade about Lil Meech's journey, talking about how 50 had to take him out of Detroit and put him in acting school. He said he remembered when Lil Meech was just rapping with no one backing him, but that comment only showed what everyone already knew. Ross was still obsessed with being in the spotlight, even if it meant tearing someone else down to stay there. When the hype around BMF started dying down, Rick Ross went silent. He cut off contact with Meech, disappearing just when things started slipping. That's when reality hit hard. Ross was only ever loyal to his own pockets. The minute Meech stopped benefiting his brand, he was no longer part of the plan.
You took a picture with Rick Ross. Put your back against the wall and just slide down.
Then came the rumors. People started whispering that Ross was the real reason behind the cancellation of Meech's Welcome Home benefit concert, an event fans originally thought 50 Cent had sabotaged, but insiders claimed something darker. They said Ross didn't want Meech to bounce back strong. He wanted him out of the spotlight, sidelined, while he played the online hero, pretending to carry the legacy. To a lot of people, that was the ultimate betrayal, trading another man's story for clout instead of rebuilding it. That's when the streets turned their backs on Meech. And they...
Yes, Charleston White is correct. I'm a rapper, not a dealer. Be sure to catch my new show, 50 Cent, 50 Ways to Catch a Killer.
And things only went downhill from there. When Meech tried to clap back, calling 50 Cent an internet gangster and accusing him of hiding behind social media for attention, the public didn't buy it. Everyone saw it for what it was, damage control. By that point, the jokes were already flying. The memes, the tweets, the commentary. All of it painted Meech as someone who'd been played and outmaneuvered by the very people he thought were on his side. When you look at Ross's track record, though, it's not surprising. The pattern's been the same for years. Alliances built on self-interest, partnerships that end with someone else paying the price. This isn't new for Ross. Nearly every major connection he's made in hip-hop has followed the same formula: chaos, confusion, and someone else left cleaning up the mess. Look at his Maybach music crew. Whale, Meek Mill, Gunplay, they all once stood proudly under Ross's wing, but over time, frustration started building. Missing money, shady contracts, empty promises. The stories piled up. Ross would act supportive in public, but behind closed doors, people say it was all control, ego, and manipulation.
Trying to decide how we gonna roll at this Meech concert tonight. 2 lambs, 4 Raris, 5 double R's, something like that.
At this point, the picture's clear. Rick Ross has a history of knowing exactly what he's doing and what it will lead to. If he truly respected Big Meech, he would have kept things quiet and handled business behind the scenes. But instead, he went public, knowing full well how 50 Cent would react once he saw Ross linking up with someone tied to his brand. There was money, pride, and legacy all on the line. And instead of moving with respect, Ross chose chaos. And as always, someone else ended up paying the price.
I'm seeing a lot of about the Big Meech concert getting canceled. What I'm not seeing is anybody blaming Rick Ross for this. Nobody is saying, yo, Rick Ross is your fault.
Even Meek Mill, once seen as Rick Ross's right-hand man, eventually stepped back after realizing the MMG empire wasn't built for everyone to win. And now that same pattern seems to be happening again, this time with Big Meech. The $120 million deal Ross hyped up turned out to be nothing but smoke and mirrors, while Ross walked away with another round of headlines and free publicity.
A quick Google search for you says that your net worth is $20 million.
I know I got more money than that. I might go 70 days without looking at my exact total amount of my money, because it give me anxiety keep looking at numbers all day. It's like when you put money in stocks, the stock trader told me, say, put a lot of money in stock, don't keep looking at that. It's gonna drive you crazy.
People are starting to catch on, though. Every time Rick Ross starts fading from the spotlight, he magically finds someone new to attach himself to, someone with real credibility in the streets. Meanwhile, 50 Cent flipped the entire game. While Ross keeps chasing validation through beef and controversy, 50 is out here turning real stories into billion-dollar TV hits. That's the difference. One man's chasing clout, the other's building empires. The streets see it, the fans see it. Even insiders are now saying Ross is playing checkers while 50 is out here running chess.
Think about it. It was all part of the plan. 50 Cent and Rick Ross, they set up Big Meech. Freeway Ricky, Rick Ross, and now you got 50 Cent, he owning the rights to BMF.
So the question is, how many more people will Ross pull into his circle before they realize the game? Because if history's shown anything, it's this. Anyone who stands next to Rick Ross eventually learns the same hard lesson. Loyalty doesn't last. But clout? That's forever. The pattern's undeniable. Ross's whole playbook runs on borrowed legacies and repackaged glory. Think about it. The BMF track had Big Meech thinking Ross was standing beside him like family. But what if that loyalty was never real? What if Ross never wanted to honor Big Meech? He wanted to become him in the eyes of the culture. When you look back, it fits perfectly. Ross has been building his career off other people's names and stories since day one. It's all out there in black and white. His entire persona came straight from the real Rick Ross, the street legend who was behind bars, while this rapper borrowed his name, his image, and his story to build a multi-million-dollar brand. But when the real Rick Ross got out, he confronted him, even took him to court trying to reclaim his identity. But Ross didn't back down. He doubled up. He kept profiting off the myth he created. And then he did it again, this time with Larry Hoover, another incarcerated icon. Ross dropped Hoover's name in songs, interviews, even visuals, stacking clout off someone else's legacy. Same play, different legend. And now with Big Meech, it's starting to look like history repeating itself. Another borrowed name, another twisted legacy, another man left in the shadows while Ross shines under someone else's light. It paints a clear picture. Rick Ross has been eating off other people's pain for years, turning real struggles into his next marketing move. And when the smoke clears, he's always the one walking away with the win. Truth is, 50 Cent called it from the start. He's been saying Ross never earned respect as a man, only as a marketer. The fans aren't holding back either. One viral comment summed it up perfectly. Rick Ross is a fraud, period. Another said, Ross messed up the whole legacy chasing clout. The people have spoken. But the real question now, is Ross just playing the game, or did he really leave Big Meech high and dry? Was Meech's loyalty misplaced, or was he simply outplayed in a much bigger hustle? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and make sure you subscribe because this story, it's far from over.